When you're alone with your thoughts, you get an idea of what your thoughts actually are. If you live your life just acting constantly on the momentum of other people's expectations, of you wanting to be liked by these other people, you can run into a trap. And you set up a life that you didn't really want. You're fucked. You're trapped in this situation where you have a mortgage, you've got credit card bills, you got student loans you have to pay, you have a bunch of shit going on that you have to continue to feed. And all that, and especially if you have a family and you have to feed them, oh my goodness. Then you're fully locked in. You can't take any chances whatsoever. And oftentimes people make the mistake of getting stuck. And it is just a tactical mistake, just like it would be a mistake if you got stuck on a video game. Just like it would be a mistake if you followed a map incorrectly and you get stuck in the woods. Your life is certainly some sort of a journey. It's certainly some sort of a journey. And we have to all be aware that when we're making journeys, we're not going to always make the right steps. And sometimes you have to back up and try again. And if you're in a position where you can't back up and try again, you've trapped yourself. And the system will set out honeypots for people to get trapped in. The system will set out the ideas of retirement, the ideas of the golden years, providing you benefits, providing you a healthy work environment. Why? Well, because they want people to work for them. They don't want people to realize their own dreams and escape. But that's a fucking pain in the ass. So you got to hire more people and train them. And they want to set it up so that you stick around. Stick around in some sort of an unsatisfying world. It's up to you to see that video game problem, to see that issue as it comes up on the map. No, I think this is a right turn. To see all the problems that could potentially lay in front of you and calculate your future. And then also look around all the people that didn't do it and look at the misery that they're in and learn that you don't want to be like them. And then look at the people that have kind of taken chances and navigated their way. What did they do differently? What objectivity do they have that maybe you lack? What insight into their own mistakes are they willing to delve into that you're not, that you step back and you go, I just don't want to look at myself that closely. But the person who's able to look at themselves the closest is going to get the more rational results. I think there's a lot of people out there like that, and for some awful reason, they never find whatever it is that can break them free. They never catch a ride on that river out. And I realized that like these unconventional paths, they brought me something that I wasn't getting from regular life. From then on, I'd kind of like locked into this thing where I'm just going to do what I like and fuck what everybody says, because everybody's giving me advice to do this and advice to do that, and it never seems to be what I want to do. What do you really appreciate? What's important to you? Like, what's really important to you? Because you don't have forever, right? So what is important to you? Because you only have 24 hours in a day. So what's important to you? Find out what the fuck that is and do more of that. And try to figure out like how to make enough money so that you're not starving, that you're doing well. Don't just chase that. Chase what you're trying to do. Like the point system attached to it, the monetary point system, it can get you all fucked up because it'll get you working like 12 hours a day, 13 hours a day.
To get what?
To get more stuff. To get better stuff. To get more prestigious stuff. To get stuff that, all your other stuff having friends are really jealous of your stuff. You can appreciate some things. You can appreciate a nice car or a nice house. But if you get really caught up in them, you are trying to fill up a bucket with a hole in it. And it's never going to fill up. You're always just going to look for bigger and bigger things to try to fill that bucket up. And you're going to feel full of anxiety all the time chasing that, and there's no real satisfaction. Then that's why when you look at one of the things that people look at when you look at people that are extremely materialistic, that wear the most fancy jewelry and drive the most fancy cars and the biggest houses, we always think they're shallow. Always. I mean, isn't that funny? Like the thing that you would look at in terms of like markers for success. Markers is like material things are the big ones, right? Yeah. They're the big markers for success. That yacht, I'm gonna work 16 hours a day so I can get a bigger yacht, and then I need a house with bigger windows. There's a nonsense to that. Like, look, I'm not saying if you can afford a nice house, get a fucking nice house. It's great to have a nice house. What I'm saying is, it's not the end. It's you are the project. Yeah. Your mind is the project. Yeah. How you treat people is the project. How your
the way you are with your family and your friends and your loved ones and the people you communicate with. Get better at that. That's the goal in this life. The goal in this life is how we treat each other. Everyone has a different personality. They have different interests, different things that they would be really satisfied pursuing. That's not encouraged. What's encouraged is go find a job. What's encouraged is go find some place that you can shove yourself into. Go find a square hole that you can stick your round peg and just jam it in there and shave down the top and the bottom so you slide in with all this extra space on the sides and feel like shit for the rest of your life because you need a job, because you're in debt, because you have credit cards, because you have student loans, because that's what everybody does. And so you do it too. That's what's wrong. What's wrong is that we don't give, it's like we let them figure it out on their own, and it takes forever. I think that a lot of people that are really great at things, they're not very satisfied with their work. And then that can start that cycle in their head of self-loathing and anxiety and anger at their performance or their work. And then that can lead to depression. That can lead to just self-hate. I think we could all fall into those. I'm ruthlessly self-critical. I mean, for me, sometimes it's very hard to step outside and just take a pause and recognize that not everything's going to be right the first time you try it. I always looked at normal people living normal lives. I could never relate. I never understood it. You know, I also grew up from a broken home, and we were also on welfare, and, you know, the whole deal. Because I think a lot of motivated people come from a place of despair when they're younger. Yeah. And I always had this thought in my head that one day I would make it. Yeah. One day I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it. And then one day I realized, and I don't know when I realized it, probably when, like, on paper I'd already made it. I realized, oh, there's no such place. Like, this is not real. Like, you can't ever, you don't make it. No one makes it. Like, every day you have to be trying to do better. Every day you have to be trying. First of all, there's no perfect human. Let's accept that. You're always going to be flawed. You're always going to be subject to fits of rage and envy and all the things that you wish that you would never have in your mind. So you've got to constantly be working to make sure that that never happens. You constantly be working to make sure that you are always evaluating your perspective on life and always looking at things from meditate, constantly meditate. Make sure that you approach life with a learned perspective, like you're a better person than you were the day before, and whatever you're trying to do, whether it's fighting or whether you have an art form that you practice, whatever it is that you're doing, you're trying to do better every day. And you never, even if you accomplish some, like when, you know, you accomplish some amazing work of art, that's just that day. The next day you got to go back to work. Like if you have a world championship fight and you've trained for 8 weeks and you win by knockout and it's a spectacular result and you're very happy with the result, you got a day or two to relax. You got a day or two, and then you're like, fuck, okay, now what? Well, now you got to get back to work. If you think that there's some place like a movie where you're holding hands with your loved ones and the fucking sunset's going on and the credits roll, that's horseshit. And we have this idea in our head that there's this place that you can get to where you've, air quotes, made it. I think it's a management issue. I think a lot of what happiness is a management issue, and decisions that you're making right now, like you could be in a shit state of mind right now, but you could make some decisions to adjust that, and over the next couple hours, you'll get to a much better place. And these constant management decisions, they waver in and out of your life on a daily basis. Like this idea that you could have a good mindset and then all of a sudden you'll be happy. That's horseshit. Like it's like the tide. It comes in and it comes out. There's going to be days where you're just not feeling so good physically, and that's going to affect the way your happiness level is. It's never static. It's never exactly the same. This is something I've cultivated for a long time and avoided things that make me unhappy and figured out what those things are and been very rigid about eliminating them from my life. And one of the big ones is eliminating interactions with people that are negative. That is gigantic. And because I've realized that I'm not really as independent as I used to like to think I was. I used to like to think that my thought process was independent and that I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks. That's nonsense. people say that because they absolutely care what people think and it bothers them. So they say, I don't give a fuck. But that I don't give a fuck stuff is almost entirely nonsense. You do care. And you care in both ways. You care if people are critical of you, care if people are positive of you, but you also care if people are living positive lives and they're motivating you. That's a big one. People are fuel. When you meet these exceptional people that move you, like what are the characters? What are the qualities that they have? What are the characteristics that they possess? And those things become significant and important to you. Whereas if you live around a bunch of people that are complaining and bitching about everything and they see the negative in everything and they're always whining, those people are the opposite of that. They're the opposite of inspiration, and they're mud. You're just like, what? It's like you're up to your ankles in mud. You try to trudge through life. It's difficult. You're not light. It's not pushing you. There's not a wind at your back. The wind's in your face, and it's rough. When you're around happy, inspirational people that are successful, it makes you feel better and you get inspired. And if you act on that inspiration, your life will be more fulfilled. And it's not just inspirational in terms of financial success, but in terms of doing difficult things. Because if I just think, well, tomorrow I'm just going to coast and eat Twinkies and watch TV. Oh, hello, sadness, my old friend. Hello, depression. Because when you're not doing anything, you feel like shit. And that's just part of being a human being. And we can pretend that we're something other than what we really are. And we can pretend, nah, me, man, I'm just cool, just chilling, doing nothing. Bull. You're a human. You're a human being. You evolved from the hundreds of thousands of years of hunters and gatherers and people that were struggling. Those human reward systems are carved deeply into your DNA. And if you don't respect that, if you don't respect the mechanism of happiness and fulfillment and what you really need to do in order to feel satisfied in life, camaraderie, love, family, friendship, struggle, testing yourself, learning, all those things are imperative. They're all a giant part of being a person.